So, as just a small bit of forewarning, none of the splash screens at the start here have any background audio or music, so if you're trying to turn up your speakers to try to hear stuff or to try to balance things out, just understand there is nothing for these initial screens, but in just a second there will be some pretty noticeable music going on, so be warned of that.
Suzuki Bakuhatsu.
Well, okay. That intro certainly spells out exactly what this game is all about. And just what is this game? Well, it is Suzuki Bakuhatsu, released back in 2000 on PS1. It's a very interesting puzzle game. And just what makes it so interesting? Well, let's go ahead and start a normal game and find out. Right off the bat, seems like a normal morning. But that's definitely not normal. At least not for me anyway. I don't wake up exploding in that fashion anyway. Still, if we go check our door, it does seem like somebody happens to be waiting for us. Oh, it's just the local delivery man. He's got a package for us. Strangely, though, he also seems to have been running a little bit late on his breakfast.
Huh?
And for some reason, along with that package, he's also left us a little fruity treat. Something is a bit strange, though, with this fruit.
Oh!
So, before we can really get our bearings or even have our morning cup of coffee, we're already shoved into pretty much what is the crux of the game, which is investigating fruit. No, not necessarily. There's just something strange about this fruit. And you can kind of see on the left-hand side there are arrow indicators that tell us which ways we can move the camera. And as we start to get closer, we do observe that there seems to be a screw instead of a stem coming out of the top here. Good news is that we just happen to have an absurdly long screwdriver in our mystery universe. And by utilizing this tool, we can easily unscrew the top, though, yeah, as you might have noticed earlier, there is a timer for some strange reason.
Oh!
And that's because this is not just an ordinary puzzle game. No, it's a bomb disposal game. As such, we are pretty much left to our own devices to try to figure out how best to dispose of this bomb as quickly and as reasonably as possible. The game is nice enough, though, to point out points of interest, such as with these screws we can unscrew. And being as this is kind of a tutorial, it does hold our hand a little bit. It's not too difficult. Now, once we uncover the glass and break it down into its separate particles somehow, we do find that there is a note on top of it, and with another tool, the magnifying glass, we can take a closer look at that.
なろう
Sometimes it can be a clue. Sadly, let's just assume I'm illiterate, and it just adds to the mystery of things. But in classic bomb disposal stereotypes and tropes, the way to shut off the bomb is simply to cut a wire. And in this case, there's thankfully a nice little sign that kind of points out, which thing will cause this thing to blow up in our face. So let's use our wire cutters to not cut the danger cord, instead cut the blue cord. With that exciting music sting, we do get a breakdown of our stats here. There are different ranks you can get for going faster or slower, but, since I'm trying to run through this and explain it as we go along, I'm not going to be getting SA ranks. Still, she is very happy to hear that. And after that fruit catastrophe was nearly avoided, I guess it is time to get a little bit more sleep. Alright, so with that early 2000s music video out of the way, I think it's time to actually get the story started. Get a clearer idea of what the hell is going on here. I assume we're at the office, which is... yeah, just another normal day, I guess. I mean, it has been a while since I've actually been in an office space because of COVID and all that, but... yeah, I can only assume everything is... normal? Now, the thing that is leaving us up to question here and be confused is not so much that we have a gun, rather that there seems to be another explosive device. That's right, if you were just assuming bombs would be in normal places like fruits or sitting on the ground, you'd be wrong. Sometimes they are placed neatly inside of our small concealed weapons. Now, right off the bat, we can find a little note on the underside of the gun. But, yet again, let's just pretend and assume safely that I am illiterate. And instead, we are going to have to try to figure out where this ticking is coming from on this gun here. Now, as we do go around, it does show that you can kind of look under the gun, and spoiler alert, I'm fairly certain it's the same message.
No?
Maybe it could be that since we looked at it from upside down, couldn't read it before, but in this case, still can't read it. But as we've gone almost 360 degrees around the gun, it's not until we do the very dangerous action of looking down the barrel that we do find a hidden away screw. So if we go ahead and unscrew this, I think we should be able to get a closer look at the mechanism inside. And much like with the fruit, that is when the timer does start. And, as you can probably assume, since we are no longer, let's say, realistically in the tutorial anymore, it's now time to get a little bit more complex. In this case, we do have, the same screws we kind of had to deal with last time, but in this case, they are almost double. And I say almost because secretly, I already know what's inside here. Because, yeah, we remove the outer covering and we see what seems to be a hilariously small pair of scissors and our normal red and blue wires, but also another 4, screws to deal with. Now, the important things to realize about these screws is that you'll notice that either above or below them there are arrows pointing one way or another. In this case, if we start to, let's say, unscrew one of these pointing to the pointing to the left, it will start to unspool the little screw holding the scissors and make it move away from those wires, which obviously we want that to do. And by doing the bottom set first, we can now safely unscrew the top set. And if you happen to start unscrewing the top set first, you're not entirely screwed. Pun intended. You can actually change the direction that you screw, whether it be clockwise or counterclockwise, because you can see in the lower left an indicator of which direction you're screwing just with press of the D-pad. And the selection of wires is pretty straightforward, as you can maybe guess. They wouldn't have set up the bomb to purposely cut the wire that would defuse the bomb, so let's go ahead and cut the red wire. And there we go. Another bomb safely defused, though we were getting a little bit closer to running out of time there. And now for an explanation of the story. Okay then. Maybe next time. Join me as the story progresses. See you then.